Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, Bethesda dropped a bit of a bombshell on us today. Got some really big Fallout news for you. And, yeah, very mixed feelings, I think. I don't think the news is going to make anybody particularly happy, but I think it does represent some solid decision-making on Bethesda's part. It's probably the right call. So, let's not beat around the bush. Let's jump in and take a look at what Bethesda have for us today. So, Wastelanders release date, private worlds, and the Atomic Shop, and more. So, as we approach the 1-year anniversary of the launch of Fallout 76, we want to take a moment to talk about Wastelanders, provide an update on a few areas of the game, and share why we're so optimistic about the future. Good start. So, Wastelanders, big bit of news first and foremost. We've been hard at work on Fallout 76 this year, including our biggest free update yet, Wastelanders. We're excited about how Wastelanders is coming together, but it's going to need more time to be the best, most polished update it can be, so we are delaying its release until Q1 next year. So yeah, between January and the end of March sometime. A little vague, but I think this is obviously not the news anybody wants to hear. I'm sure we're all hoping to be getting our hands on this a bit sooner. I know I was. But if Wastelanders is to be the massive update and massive refresh to the game that we hope it is, then getting it right is very important. I've said before that there is a big potential for Wastelanders to encourage players to come back to the game who might have dropped off over the last year, or entice players who have decided the game's not for them because of its lack of NPCs, perhaps, since launch, and persuade them to give the game a second chance. However, if they get this wrong, I think there's a very good chance they won't get a third opportunity. So, delaying it and making sure that they don't get it wrong is the right decision, I think. The tone of this next couple of paragraphs definitely makes it feel like they're confident in what they're doing, which is good. But, yeah, taking the time to get it right is the way forward, I think. Something we've seen with Doom and other things recently as well. It's also, in a larger scale side of things, I suppose, a good thing, because when they launched 76, I think in a big way it could definitely have done with a bit more time. And delaying that launch date might have been a good move. So I think they're learning the lessons from the initial launch of the game there, which is good to see as well. Obviously, it's not news that's going to make anybody happy, but fingers crossed it's going to be, as they are claiming and hoping, the big update that we're all looking forward to. So, we've continued to reevaluate and change our processes to make sure the work we're doing hits our quality bar and yours. We apologise for this delay, but know it will be worth the extra time. There we go. Wastelanders is turning out to be one of the largest expansions we've ever done, and it changes the entire world with human NPCs returning. We'll be sharing more details over time, but here's a first look at some of what's to come in Wastelanders. So, first look consisting of screenshots, but they are pretty interesting. We have what looks to be a vault dweller coming into presumably a mine somewhere, possibly coming out of a building from the look of that. One of the prefab structures that Fallout world is kind of full of, but obviously the big main thing is behind our vault dweller we've got two individuals in more creative clothing. Got a combat armor helmet there. No idea if that's actually going to gain any benefit or just be cosmetic still, but looks like a leather jacket or the remains of one, and something a bit more customized. So hard to say exactly what the implications of this are. That could be companions or it could just be other players. But I'm guessing probably companions, given the tone of the update. So that's very cool. Doesn't tell us much in any kind of detail about what might be in there, but looking forward, definitely looking solid. Particularly high res actually, which is quite cool. So we have a bar, complete with proprietor, wearing an old possum top of some description. There's a new outfit there, which I'm guessing we'd get our hands on, which is quite cool. Bit ragged and worn, looks like she's had that since possibly pre-war, but okay. So bars and community centres and leaning towards the settlements we know are coming with Wastelanders. Very cool thing. We have a ghoul of the non-feral variety, more to the point, sat at the back in the bar. Looks to have had a little bit of an update as well. The character model there does look like it's been improved over previous editions. The feral ghouls as they exist in 76 are basically the same as in Fallout 4, with a slight texture resolution improvement, but this looks to be a significant step over that, so that's quite cool. Nice lighting in the bar as well, nice and atmospheric. Looks like it might once have been some kind of mobile home or something that's converted. Don't know. A blueprint on the back there, or possibly just a blue mat. But very, very cool nonetheless. So in the existing trailer, we've seen clips of the crashed satellite becoming a settlement, or very brief ones. Another shot of it from the other angle this time. Last time in the trailer, the camera sort of pans around the back of it there. So seeing it from this side is pretty cool. They've lifted up the sections of the space station to turn them into housing of some description. Got some Raider-esque structures in the background there. Don't know if this is supposed to be a Raider camp or if it's more of a settlement. Looking at the cages and things, I'm going to go with more of a Raider vibe, as well with all the stuff in the top left. Is interesting. It's a big overhaul to the area. Looks very, very cool. Obviously, they're getting power from the windmill. Wish we could put them up and have them looking quite that cool, but sadly not yet. Fingers crossed for on down the line. That does look very, very interesting. Another little shot. Could be anywhere, this. Couldn't really say. Got a few improved Fallout 4 assets in the background there. Cool skull mask, gas mask thing that's currently in the atomic shop, and another outfit there. So, guessing these are players, judging by the atomic shop items they're wearing, and this will presumably be one of the new NPCs, which is interesting. Yeah, as I say, I don't know where this could be. That could be a bridge of some kind, or possibly a railway track, something like that, but a little bit of a meeting going on there. Interested to see how it's going to work if you've got a group of players interacting with one NPC. I think they've mentioned instancing tech in the past, so there might be something involving that going on. But looking very, very cool nonetheless. And the new Wendigo type, if I remember rightly, this is. Some kind of monstrous version thereof. Wendigo Colossus, I think the name was. Middle of a radstorm. I've got a couple of other Wendigos down here as well. That looks like an encounter you definitely don't want to be caught in unawares. Definitely not in nothing but a vault suit. That would be a bad day, I think. Yeah, that looks very, very cool. Gives us a little bit of perspective on exactly how tall the Wendigo Colossus is. And has 3 heads, apparently. That's horrible. But yeah, we're looking at what? Probably 2-3 times the height of a player. Probably 3 times the height of a player from the look of that. Perspective notwithstanding. Very, very cool. So, a little sneak peek at Wastelanders there, but unfortunately delayed until next year. Sad, but probably the right decision. As I say, if they get this wrong, I don't think Bethesda will get a third chance to entice people back, so let's have it got right. It'll be more fun if they get it right. Of course, the other side with them delaying it is that it pushes a bit more pressure on them to get it right, in a sense. If you've delayed it and then it doesn't come out at the standard we'd hope for and expect, the impact will be correspondingly larger as well, so I'm sure Bethesda are aware of this, but fingers crossed everything will go according to plan. A little sad to see it delayed, but I'm willing to wait if it means the update is the best it can be. Anyway, moving on. Private Worlds coming soon. Back at QuakeCon, the team announced that private servers would be coming, and much sooner than expected, and I think this qualifies as sooner than expected. They had no more details since QuakeCon, so this is really cool. And when we say sooner than expected, we mean next week. Which is in keeping with Bethesda's recent announce and then drop very quickly cycle, but interesting news here. This is probably going to have some mixed feelings, I think. I know I have some. Let's look at what they've got to say. We're happy to announce our work on the service for private servers is complete and will be launching next week. Very, very cool. The ability to play in your own private world with your friends has been a #1 community requested feature, and we're thrilled that it's finally coming. Our goal for players who purchase this service is to offer something for everyone, not just those who want a private server. Additionally, in the future you'll be able to mod your worlds. Stay tuned for more information on the service in the coming days. So the mod side of things is still underway, still being worked on, but is coming. Private servers in and of themselves due out next week, so I guess on that will be Tuesday. That's their usual launch day. I think the big thing that people are going to be going, what, over, is the payment angle. In that, if you want a private server, it looks based on this like you're going to have to shell out for it. My guess would be probably a monthly fee. In terms of things like this, my experience is really quite limited. The only game that I know of that I've played that uses a private server type of mechanic is Conan Exiles. And the way that game does it is that you can either set up and run your own private server, which requires paying a fee, and maintaining a server on your end, so you have to have a PC that's capable of supporting the world permanently switched on. I mean, you can switch it off, but if you switch your server off, down goes the world, so there's that. I'm guessing that's not the route Bethesda have taken. I think they've more gone down the other route that you can get with Conan Exiles, which is to say renting server space from somebody else, usually a company that provides these things. My guess this time would be that in this particular case, you're renting it from Bethesda. So I don't think that's going to be something that will make a lot of people very happy, but it's probably not the biggest surprise in the world on balance. Server space and server hardware cost money, they've got to be maintained. Bethesda, like a lot of game companies, are using AWS, Amazon Web Services, to provide the infrastructure for their game worlds, and that costs money, in short. Yeah, we all know what Jeff Bezos is like. So the cost of Bethesda is probably at some degree going to be passed on to the player who wants to support their own private world. Not wonderful news, but swings and roundabouts. I can't imagine private worlds are going to be cheap to maintain, so at least some of that is going to have to be offset, I think. After all, Bethesda have bills to pay, the same as the rest of us. So, our goal for players who purchase this service is to offer something for everyone, not just those who want a private server. Not a vast amount of detail here, given that they're launching next week. I would have thought there'd be a lot more information going on here. Beyond the obvious that you'll be able to play the base game on a server with nobody else on it, which, to be honest, is not really that edifying a prospect, having played on empty worlds in-game as it is at the moment. I'm not sure what benefits there are going to be to this, so personally I'm going to be reserving judgment and looking into it more before I jump in there. On the surface of it, if you can build any way you'd like, which is the big thing for me, marked locations in towns, things like that, build camps wherever you want, that would seem like the obvious benefit to having a private server. The reason you can't do that at the moment is because your camp could prevent other players from accessing quests or areas and that sort of thing. Oh, that's one of the reasons anyway. So with a private world, that option might come back in. On the other hand, if it's shared with other people and you can invite them in, it also might not come back. So things like that, I'm going to have to weigh the balance as to whether or not it's actually worth doing. Obviously, being able to mod in future is something that's very, very cool. It's something worth looking into. That, particularly again on the camp building side of things, is something I would definitely like to see. And as and when that actually goes live, I'll be looking into that in more detail. For those of you who are on console and might have concerns there, my plan will be to use mods available on Bethesda.net and try and make sure that the ones I'm using are also available on console as well, particularly PS4, given that we know what Sony are like, so that anything I'm doing in my builds can be replicated on consoles as well as on PC. So, working out the exact logistics of that, we'll have to wait until mods actually go live, but that is the long-term plan. Yeah, mixed news, I think. Cool to see private worlds coming. Not so cool to see a fee going on that, but perhaps not surprising either. Interested to hear your thoughts on all these updates as always. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. But yeah, very mixed news so far. So, challenges, atoms, the Atomic Shop, and you. Couple of changes to the Atomic Shop coming, and the initial reading of this is going to have something of a negative knee-jerk reaction, but hold off on that, because there's a little bit more going on, or a little bit less perhaps, than would initially appear to be the case. But let's have a look at what Bethesda have to say. We love that there are so many types of players in Fallout 76, and one of our primary goals is to reward everybody, no matter how you play. This includes our approach to earning atoms through challenges and the types of items to unlock within the Atomic Shop. Our approach to these items at launch was to keep them purely cosmetic, but after looking at all the data, it became clear that to consistently deliver content that keeps Fallout 76 fresh and exciting for all, we needed to rethink our approach to the Atomic Shop. While we had many ideas on what to add to the Atomic Shop, one of the ways was the direct result of the community's feedback. We heard from many of you who wanted items with real utility. Starting in April, we began adding items such as repair kits, scrap kits, the Collectron Station, and a working refrigerator. These have since become the most popular category in the Atomic Shop. We're also still working on all the previously announced items and new cosmetic categories. We want to create an Atomic Shop experience where players feel good about spending their hard-earned atoms. To make the system more fun and engaging for all players, we plan on reworking parts of the challenge and reward system next year to be clearer, more fun, and more impactful for all types of players. Of course, players can also buy atoms, and we're careful with everything we add not to upset the game's balance. Our main objective is to avoid a situation where players can spend money and gain a competitive advantage, or make the game worse for other players. Even more so, we want systems that allow players who do choose to buy items to make the game better for others, not just themselves. With these principles in mind, we make careful decisions about the items we offer to keep it fair for everyone. So the initial reaction with them emphasizing non-cosmetic items, things that have an actual impact on gameplay, is one that gets a hold your horses slightly negative impact, or reaction rather. However, the context of this particular post is entirely past tense, not talking too much about the future. They're referring to things they've already done. So it looks to me like they are planning to maintain the current balance in the repair kits, scrap kits, Collectron Station, and the refrigerator do add utility, but in terms of like large advantages, they don't really provide that. It's slightly easier to get scrap at the Collectron Station, your food doesn't decay quite as fast. Basically, it eases some of the challenges in the game that can be a little bit more frustrating. Personally, I think those challenges are key parts of gameplay and I don't go for it. The Collectron Station and the refrigerator have a more balanced approach to. I'm more in favour of those, but the repair kits and scrap kits, no. Not to criticise anybody who does want to use them, but interesting is that this particular category of items is the most popularly purchased thing in the Atomic Shop. It comes as a bit of a surprise to me, but the fact that people are buying repair kits and various other bits and pieces more often than anything else it's not really surprising that Bethesda would therefore see that as something that players want and want more of, and are therefore planning to put more items in that vein into the Atomic Shop. Personally, I'm not in favour of this, but if they can stay on the right side of the line, which so far I think they have, repair kits get a little bit closer to it than I'm entirely happy with, but they have just about stayed the right side of the pay-to-win line for now. So long as they can continue to do that, I don't think it's the end of the world. The initial reaction obviously being quite negative, both back in, when was it, April I think they said, and in general now. Time has shown that they have managed to stay on the right side of the line, so if they can continue in that vein, that's fine, I think, at least as far as I'm concerned. The other interesting thing here is the changes to the challenge system. So at the moment, working through some, to be honest, quite dull, I find, challenges, and certainly time-consuming challenges to earn atoms, is not the most fun way of doing things. It does allow you to avoid spending your money on atoms and get them anyway, but it definitely needs a refresh and an overhaul, so I'm very, very interested to see what they have in mind there come, from the look of this, the beginning of next year. So, yeah, definitely something that needs an overhaul, and good to see that coming as well. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, as I say, the knee-jerk reaction's a bit alarming, but I think a slightly more considered let's wait and see approach is probably more appropriate here. So far, Bethesda have not let us down on staying on the right side of the line with utility items, shall we say. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt until they give us a reason not to, I think. My particular perspective. So for the last point, the remainder of 2019 and beyond. We still have a few more updates coming this year, including previously announced fixes to the existing game, and quality of life improvements that many of you requested. We hope that the extra time on Wastelanders will allow us to deliver many of these fixes this year. We're also continuing to work on new events, the legendary player system, public test servers, perk loadouts, and so much more to come. There's a link here if you want to head over to a previous Inside the Vault post that gives us a few more details on what they're doing. It's basically what they've listed here and a couple of other little bits and pieces besides as well. Nothing huge, nothing we don't already know about. Thank you again for your incredible support of our studio and Fallout 76. This year has been a rewarding journey for us, and your love of the game has pushed us to do everything we can to make it better and better. A few wobbles along the way, I'd say that they've mostly done that. We love hearing your stories like the amazing Wasteland Doctor, the Love Hotel, the Brahmin Death Trap, and so many more. Love seeing what you create with photo mode, our current favourite being the album cover art show, which is over on Twitter incidentally. We hope you're as excited as we are for everything coming. We're doing it all to ensure that Fallout 76 remains vibrant and growing for years to come. Thank you, Bethesda Game Studios. So yeah, worth having a little look at some of these links down here. Some of the things players have been doing that I've never heard about is actually really quite cool. Wasteland Doctor is, I'm not quite sure what that is, it needs more diving into. It seems to be mostly on Facebook. But Love Hotel is a recent camp build, which is interesting. It's cool to see. It's quite a small subscribed channel, being in the region of 200 I think. I had a quick look earlier. It's an interesting and very colourful hotel built just across the way from the White Springs, so cool to have a look at, and really good to see Bethesda pushing things like that as well. Brahmin Death Trap I think we've heard before from a while back, but that's been upgraded to involve somebody slinging dead Brahmin at people's camps from their camp, which is quite funny and worth a look. So yeah, I'd recommend a link to this particular blog post down in the description. Hop on over and have a look at that, it's good for a laugh. And the album cover art thing's interesting as well. People are recreating famous album covers using photo mode in-game, which is quite a cool idea. So, also worth a look. It's over on Twitter as well if you want to see that. Yeah, some somewhat sad news in terms of delays and things like that. Some very, very cool screenshots here were worth a look at in a bit more detail if you'd like to. But I think delaying Wastelanders is probably a good thing, and you know, we all want it to be right, and I think we'd all, as much as we'd like to have it sooner rather than later, would rather wait and see them get it right. I know I certainly would, so it is what it is there. Little unhappy to see a fee coming in with Private Worlds, but on balance, not that surprised either. And yeah, Atomic Shop changes, going to reserve judgment on that until we actually see more. Mostly good news, but some slightly... Even the unpleasant stuff is probably good news in the long run, but we'll have to see in more detail on down the line. But as always, very interested to hear what you guys think about this. Do let me know in the comments section below. For now, I do hope you found this useful and informative. If you did, please do hit those buttons for me. It's very, very much appreciated. Social media links down in the description as well, along with the link to the blog post. If you want to keep up to date with everything I'm doing, please do head on over. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And if you haven't already, do stop by the live streams as well. We're having a lot of fun playing Fallout, playing a little bit of Star Wars, playing some other stuff over the coming weeks as well. The Outer Worlds is not far away. Looking forward to that as well. Should be very, very cool. And if you're really enjoying the content, please do consider becoming a channel member as well. You can find all the details via the blue join button below, and there's a link in the description with a bit more information as well if you'd like to have a look at that. The support is hugely, hugely appreciated, so thank you very much to you guys who've already done that. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.